You know that feeling when you finish a truly incredible book?
Oh, yeah.
Or like you listen to this mind-blowing interview and you get this massive rush of inspiration.
Totally.
You feel like your entire perspective on life has just shifted. You're ready to take on the world. And then maybe 3 months go by.
Right, right.
You're at a dinner party, someone brings up the exact topic of that book, and you open your mouth to share that brilliant, life-changing insight.
And there's just nothing there.
Nothing. Complete static. The knowledge has completely vanished.
It's a uniquely modern kind of heartbreak, really.
It so is.
You put in the time, I mean, you did the reading, you highlighted the margins, and yet the retention is almost zero.
Yeah.
It makes you question why we even bother trying to consume all this information if it's just going to evaporate a few weeks later.
Okay, let's unpack this, because that universal frustration is exactly what we're tackling in today's deep dive. We're looking at this definitive guide by Tiago Forte. It's called Building a Second Brain. And our mission today is, well, it's pretty counterintuitive.
It really is.
We're going to explore a systematic way to cure your information overload, not by, trying to remember everything, but by transforming you into someone who deliberately tries to forget almost everything.
Right, by trusting an external system.
Exactly.
Which requires a fundamental shift in how we view our own minds.
Yeah.
If you constantly feel like you're forgetting what you learn, I just want to validate that frustration by pointing out that the fault isn't your memory.
Thank goodness.
Right. There's absolutely nothing wrong with your brain. The problem is entirely based on how you're forcing it to operate in a digital age.
That core philosophy from the source material, I mean, it hit me like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
It argues that our brains are for having ideas, not for storing them.
Yes. What's fascinating here is the sheer volume of data you encounter in, like, a single Tuesday.
Oh, it's absurd.
Think about it.
Yeah.
You're managing text threads, Slack messages, online articles,
Emails, podcasts.
webinars, meeting notes. The amount of information we're exposed to is literally unprecedented in human history.
Yeah.
And trying to hold all of those specific details, those statistics, those, brilliant quotes in your biological memory, it's a losing game. It is just cognitively exhausting.
The analogy that came to mind for me while reading the sources is it's like trying to use a brilliant artist's canvas as a filing cabinet.
Oh, I like that.
Right. Like you've got this beautiful, expansive space meant for creation, for painting masterpieces. But instead of painting, you're frantically taping old receipts, utility bills, random legal documents all over the canvas.
That's a great way to put it.
You're so obsessed with not losing the receipts that there's literally no room left to actually create anything.
That is a perfect visualization of cognitive overload.
Yeah.
And the profound psychological relief that this source material offers comes from taking all those receipts off the canvas. The solution is to offload this information to a centralized digital repository, a second brain.
Right.
By moving the heavy lifting of data storage to an external system, you instantly free up your biological brain.
You give it permission to just breathe.
Yes. You give it permission to be present in the moment, to wander, to connect dots, and to do what it actually does best, which is imagine.
Which, sounds incredibly liberating in theory.
Sure.
But to actually build this external brain, we can't just throw things into a digital void.
No, definitely not.
Like if I just dump all my bookmarks and PDFs into a single folder, I haven't built a second brain, I've just built a digital landfill.
Exactly.
So the methodology we're going to walk through is the CODE framework. That's CODE. Capture, organize, distill, and express.
Right.
Let's start with capture, because obviously you can't organize a system until you put something in it.
Makes sense.
But before we talk about how to capture, we really need to talk about what we're fighting against, which is this endless reactivity loop.
Yeah. We are living at the absolute mercy of algorithms right now.
It's so true.
The second you unlock your phone, you are immersed in a flow of information that other people or algorithms have decided you should see.
Yeah, you don't even choose it.
Right. It's a passive reactive state. You're consuming whatever is shoved in front of you, which trains your brain to just expect constant shallow novelty.
And the antidote, as the source provides, is transitioning from just consuming to deliberately capturing.
Yes.
We need to start thinking like museum curators.
I love that framing.
Yeah, and the first practical step is using read later apps. Things like Readwise, Instapaper, or Pocket.
Right.
The whole point is to delay consumption. So if I see a juicy article about behavioral economics on my lunch break...
You don't read it right then.
Exactly. I don't read it. I save it to my read later app.
And by inserting that buffer, You actually break the dopamine loop.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, when you finally sit down with your curated materials, maybe on a quiet Sunday morning with your coffee, you're in a completely different headspace.
You're intentional.
Exactly. You aren't reacting, you are actively engaging. And from there, you need a centralized place to capture the best parts of what you read.
Right.
We're talking about tools like Notion, Evernote, Apple Notes, Obsidian.
See, I'll be honest, this is where I usually stumble.
Okay.
If I give myself permission to capture things into an app, my instinct is to just save everything that sounds mildly interesting.
Oh, yeah?
Wait, if I just save everything, won't my second brain just become a digital hoarder's garage? I already have thousands of unread bookmarks. How is this any different?
That is the trap of passive hoarding, for sure.
Yeah.
And it usually happens because we're capturing information based on what we think should be important.
Oh, like we're playing school.
Exactly. We try to be academic judges. We save a dense 40-page white paper because it seems intelligent, even if we are literally dreading reading it.
I do that all the time.
The rule of thumb in the source material completely flips this. Do not make highly intellectual, analytical decisions about what to save. Instead, save whatever resonates with you on a purely intuitive level.
Huh. Define resonates for me in this context, because that sounds, I don't know, a bit abstract.
It's actually a physical or emotional reaction.
Okay.
It's when you read a sentence and you feel a little spark of surprise or a sudden sense of clarity or, even a strong disagreement.
Oh, like when your eyes widen a bit.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It connects to a question you've been secretly wondering about. If a paragraph gives you that feeling, capture it.
And if it doesn't?
If it doesn't, leave it behind, even if it's the main thesis of the book.
Wow, that feels almost rebellious.
It is.
Like, I don't have to save the whole article, just the one weird anecdote about a 19th century clockmaker that made me sit up in my chair.
Yes, because capturing what intuitively resonates trains you to understand your own taste.
Oh, I like that.
You begin to trust your gut, rather than relying on what the author thinks is most important.
Right.
You aren't hoarding, you are curating the unique building blocks of your own perspective.
Okay, let's say I've bought in, I'm using my Read Later apps. I'm actively capturing these intuitive sparks into my digital note-taking app. Let's say I'm using Apple Notes.
Sure.
I do this for a month, and now I have 500 individual notes.
It's a lot of notes.
Quotes, podcast transcripts, random shower thoughts. I am right back to staring at a massive, chaotic mess.
Right.
How do we structure this without making it a full-time administrative job?
This is where most organizational systems fail. They fall into what we can call the Dewey Decimal Trap.
Oh man, I am extremely guilty of this.
Most people are.
My current computer desktop is full of massive folders labeled finance, house, work, psychology.
Yep.
And if I need to find a specific PDF from a meeting last year, it takes me 20 minutes of clicking through subfolders to find it. Why is that natural instinct to categorize by subject so deeply flawed?
Because subject-based organization is incredibly rigid, but your life is fluid.
That makes sense.
Let's say you save an article about the psychology of habit formation. Does that go in your psychology folder?
Or does it go in my health folder because I want to start running?
Exactly. Or your business folder, because you're trying to build better habits for your team.
Oh, I see.
When you organize by broad subjects, you have to make exhausting decisions every single time you save a file.
It requires too much friction. I end up just dumping it on my desktop because I don't want to think about it.
Exactly. When it comes to digital notes, we must organize for actionability.
Actionability.
Yes.
Okay.
Where will this piece of information be most useful to me right now? And that brings us to the O in the code framework. Organize, specifically using the PRA method. PARA.
Right, which stands for projects, areas, resources, and archive.
Let's walk through these because the distinction between a project and an area usually trips people up.
Yeah, please do.
A project is a short-term effort with a specific goal and a definite deadline.
Like publish Q3 marketing report.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or plan summer vacation, redesign living room. These have a finish line. An area, on the other hand, is a long-term responsibility that you manage over time without a final destination.
Oh, like health or finance.
Right, or product management.
Yeah.
You never, quote-unquote, finish your health.
Right. So projects have deadlines, areas are ongoing standards we maintain. What about resources?
Resources are topics or interests that aren't actionable right now, but might be useful in the future.
Okay, things like typography design or coffee brewing, history of Rome.
Exactly. And finally, the archive is for anything inactive from the other three categories.
So completed projects, areas you no longer maintain, or resources you've just lost interest in.
You got it.
For the listener who is trying to visualize this, the beauty here is how fluid the information is.
Yes.
Let's test that logic.
Mm-hmm.
Say I have a resource folder on typography design. I'm just passively collecting cool fonts.
Okay.
Suddenly, my boss asks me to redesign our company newsletter. Does that whole folder move?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the information moves to where it is most actionable. So you would spin up a new project called Redesign Newsletter.
Right.
You would grab the best notes from your typography resource folder and move them into that active project folder.
Oh, so I'm essentially gathering my materials on the workbench.
Exactly. And once the newsletter is done, that projects folder gets moved into the archive.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because that keeps my active workspace incredibly clean.
It does.
But adopting a new organizational system usually means staring down the barrel of organizing 10 years of messy computer files.
The dreaded backlog.
I literally spent a weekend last year trying to organize a downloads folder from 2018.
Oh, no.
It was emotionally exhausting trying to decide where a takeout menu from a restaurant that closed 3 years ago belonged.
Well, the source material offers a brilliant hack to bypass all of that guilt and friction. It's called the 60-second clean slate.
I love this concept so much. Walk us through it.
The rule is simple. Do not sort your old files.
Wait, really?
Do not spend 3 days agonizing over your digital baggage. You take everything you currently have on your desktop or in your old Notes app, you sweep it into a single folder, title it Archive with today's date, and you walk away.
You're telling me I can just dump that 2018 takeout menu in a time capsule folder and forget about it?
Yes, because your organizational system should not rob you of the energy you need to actually live your life.
Wow.
By moving everything to an archive, you aren't deleting anything. If you desperately need that old tax document, you can still search for it.
But your daily visual workspace is instantly clean.
Exactly. You wipe the slate clean, and moving forward, you only organize by active projects.
Which makes processing new notes take seconds.
Right.
I look at a new highlight and ask, is this useful for an active project? If yes, it goes there.
Oh.
If no, is it useful for an area of responsibility? If no, is it a resource I'm interested in? It's a funnel.
And very few things make it to the top of that funnel. It combats information overwhelm by forcing you to realize that very few things are actually actionable at any given time.
Okay, so our receipts are off the canvas. We've captured what resonates. We've organized it into active projects.
We're making progress.
But here's the reality check. Even if a note is perfectly filed in my Redesign Newsletter Project folder, if I open it during a busy workday and it's a dense 10-page wall of text I saved from a design blog, it is practically useless to me.
Sure.
I do not have time to reread 10 pages between meetings.
Which brings us to a major bottleneck. Capturing and organizing are essentially hoarding if you don't do the next step, which is distill.
Ah, the D in code.
Yes. And the mindset shift required here is profound. You need to start viewing note-taking as a form of time travel.
Time travel, meaning I'm communicating with my future self.
Yes. When you save a note, you are designing a packet of knowledge to send to future you.
Okay.
And you have to assume that future you is incredibly busy, stressed, impatient, and has completely forgotten the context of the article.
Oh, that is definitely me.
Right. If you send future you a 10-page wall of text, they're going to ignore it.
I am absolutely ignoring it. So how do I distill it without making it a massive chore?
Well,
because if you tell me I have to sit down for 3 hours on a Sunday to write highly structured academic summaries of every article I read, I'm going to abandon this system by Tuesday.
And you should, because that is totally unsustainable.
Thank goodness.
The source introduces a technique called progressive summarization, powered by what they call opportunistic distilling.
Opportunistic distilling.
Yes. The goal is not to summarize the note all at once. You do it in multiple tiny stages over time, but only when you happen to be looking at the note anyway.
So instead of sitting down for 3 hours to write the perfect book summary, I'm just leaving breadcrumbs for myself whenever I happen to open the file.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's say you save an excerpt. The next time you happen to open that note because you're browsing your project folder, you might spend 30 seconds bolding the most important sentences. That's it. You close it. A week later, you open it again. This time, you highlight the absolute best parts of the bolded text.
Oh, I see.
Eventually, if you visit the note a fourth time, You might write a 3-bullet-point executive summary at the very top.
I see what you mean by time travel. You're creating a digital map that you can zoom in and out of.
Right?
If I have 20 minutes, I can read the whole excerpt. If I just have 10 seconds before a presentation, I just read the highlighted summary at the top.
The source uses a brilliant ski slope analogy to explain why this works so well.
Oh, lay it on me.
Think about a mountain covered in snow. The ski resort doesn't groom every single inch of the mountain.
Right, they let the skiers create the trails.
Exactly. The most popular routes naturally end up with deeper grooves because people ski over them repeatedly.
That makes so much sense. I don't have to distill the notes I never use.
No.
By spreading the workout, only the notes I visit frequently, like the popular ski trails, they get those deeper grooves of bolding and highlighting.
Exactly. The system naturally surfaces the most valuable information without you having to predict what will be important up front.
It totally relieves the pressure of perfectionism. You're simply adding a tiny bit of value every time you touch a piece of information.
Which leads us to the ultimate payoff. We have arrived at the final letter in the code framework, E for Express.
Finally.
Right. Because if you capture intuitively, organize for action, and distill for your future self.
But you stop there.
You haven't really accomplished anything, have you? You've just built a very elaborate private museum of highlights.
And a private museum doesn't change your life, nor does it impact anyone else's.
Exactly. The source material is very firm on this point. Your second brain is a factory, not a warehouse.
A factory, not a warehouse.
Yes. Information only transforms into actual knowledge when it is put to use in the real world.
So what does this all mean? It's the difference between collecting recipes and actually cooking a meal.
Perfect analogy.
But how do we use the factory? Let's say my active project is writing that Q3 marketing report. Usually my process is staring at a blank Google Doc, feeling overwhelmed, and trying to roll a giant boulder uphill all at once.
The factory model completely dismantles that approach through the concept of intermediate packets.
Intermediate packets.
Right. Instead of viewing the marketing report as one monolithic task, you break your work down into discrete, reusable units.
Give me an example of an intermediate packet in the context of that report.
An intermediate packet could be a list of statistics you distilled from an article last month.
Okay.
Another packet could be the messy notes from a brainstorming meeting you had on Tuesday.
Oh, I see.
Another packet is a slide deck you made last year for a similar campaign. These are small, manageable units of work that you completed in 15-minute to 3-hour sessions over the past few weeks.
So when I finally sit down to, quote-unquote, write the report, I'm not actually starting from scratch.
No.
I open my second brain, and I pull in the statistics packet, I drag in the meeting notes packet, I adapt the slide deck packet.
Yeah.
It's like snapping Lego bricks together. 60% of my report is already written before I've typed a single new word.
That is the magic of the system. You never have to face a blank page again.
That's incredible.
Because your second brain has already done the heavy lifting in the background. And this shifts how you view output. The final step of Express is to share your work with the world.
Publish the report, launch the website, start the podcast.
Right. But the barrier to sharing is usually crippling perfectionism. We wait for that one more piece of information before we feel ready.
So true.
But when you work with intermediate packets, curating, distilling, combining, you realize there is no such thing as a perfectly finished product.
It's all just iteration.
Exactly.
Okay.
Everything you create is an implicit version 1.0. It is just an assembly of the packets you have available right now.
That takes an immense amount of pressure off. You publish early, you invite collaboration, you get feedback.
Yeah.
You aren't defining your self-worth by a single massive project. You're just sharing the current state of your factory's assembly line.
This raises an important question, though. What are you waiting for?
Oh, wow.
The great irony of building a second brain is how it looks to the outside world. When you start working this way, your colleagues will look at you and admire your incredible self-discipline.
They'll think you're a machine.
They'll marvel at your ability to draw on this huge body of knowledge, synthesize complex reports, and execute projects seemingly overnight.
But secretly, you aren't using willpower at all. You never lock yourself in a room to crank out a massive project from scratch. You're simply letting your ideas simmer in your second brain until the Lego bricks are ready to be snapped together.
You've optimized an external system that is endlessly reliable. And by doing so, you've stopped treating your biological brain like a hard drive.
As we wrap this up, what strikes me most about the code framework, capture, organize, distill, express, is that it fundamentally changes how a person moves through the world.
It really does.
You stop seeing ideas in isolation. Once you trust this system, you start seeing underlying structures and connections everywhere.
Hmm.
Every random conversation, every documentary you watch on a lazy Sunday becomes an interconnected opportunity for growth rather than just more noise.
It cures information overload, not by filtering the world, but by giving you a structured vessel to hold it.
Which brings us to a final thought I want to leave you with today. The source material makes this really profound point that over time, your second brain ultimately acts like a mirror.
Hmm.
So I want you to think about this. If you were to look at the notes, the bookmarks, the random quotes that you have haphazardly saved over the last year,
Right now, exactly as they are.
what would that mirror reflect back to you about who you are? And more importantly, who you are trying to become?
The clues to your next big breakthrough or your next major pivot in life are probably already sitting right there in your unorganized files, just waiting for you to connect them.
You already have all the raw materials you need. You just need to take the receipts off the canvas and give your mind the space to paint. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into building a second brain. Keep capturing what resonates, and we will see you next time.